course, and friends, this is your shot of the morning. A whirlwind of devastation at President-elect Trump's vacation home in Florida. Apparently.
Before and after. On the left, Donald Trump Jr.'s kids before, and then afterwards, it was ravenous.
Before, the presidents were piled high under a beautiful tree. After, a mess of wrapping paper and toys. You see that all around the country.
I love that. They represent almost every family in America, right? So we asked you to send your Christmas photos. Take a look. This is Kim sent us this picture of these adorable little angels.
At least if they wear that. Jane from West Palm Beach, Florida, sent us this picture of her 3 puppies, Aussie, Charlie, and Riley, who seem to love Christmas.
And the force is with this cute little kid who seems pretty impressed with his new lightsaber. Awesome.
I love that. He's Clayton Morris in the making.
Well, they say it's the thought that counts, but some press. Well, they missed the mark.
Alfie, what did Aunt Clara give you? Show everybody.
I want to.
Money, Lauren Lyons Cole. Lauren, welcome back.
Thanks for having me,
Good to see
Brian.
you.
Morning.
A lot of people open things up and they say, "Oh, I love it. Is there a receipt?"
Yeah.
Right? What do you do? What do you do with the stuff that you don't like?
Well, it's true. You know, if you got a gift that you didn't love, you're not alone. In fact, the Consumer Reports holiday poll found that 2 out of 5 people end up returning a gift. So if you're going to head out to the stores today, definitely you're going to be in good company. So when you go back to the store, though, if you have a receipt, you want to bring it with you. And you also want to bring a government-issued ID. Believe it or not, some stores are requiring that just to prevent fraud.
What are the best stores for return policy?
So it really varies. And this is the kind of thing you want to remember for next year when you're buying gifts. But stores like Costco, Nordstrom, of course, LL Bean, Eddie Bauer, those have a no-hassle return policy. So if you're going to bring back a gift, that's going to be a lot better experience than some other stores that are not so good.
So
like who?
Bed Bath & Beyond is pretty good, huh?
Bed Bath & Beyond
Brian
is
shops
great.
here a lot.
Right. For all 3 reasons. For Bed Bath & Beyond. Yes, I do. So those are good policies?
Yeah, so those are the ones with good policies. You still want to have your receipt. You still want to check the time frame. Sometimes you have to return them within 90 days. Sometimes it's a little bit longer during the holiday season.
So which companies are naughty and not so nice?
So yeah, some of the naughtier companies, Kmart, Sears, Barnes & Noble, believe it or not, has a very strict return policy. Yeah, it's like 2 weeks in order to get a refund. So American Apparel, Forever 21, some of those stores, you might have a little bit more hassle. So if you're going to return something, head out today.
Yeah, you want to do it sooner rather than later.
Exactly.
And the other thing to add in, too, sometimes is you can return it, but you got to get something here. You're not going to get the cash back, you're going to get the credit. So that might be the difference.
That's true. So, you know, really, when you're thinking about buying gifts for next year, gift cards are very popular. You can't really go wrong with that. And then there's no hassle.
I was going to say, you're the expert on this. People that give gifts that aren't usually the best. We all get those gifts. We're like, oh, thank you so much. And the next day, you're like, how do we get rid of this? What are the best gift options for people that are least likely to be returned?
You know what? It's funny. So this year, our poll showed that people wanted practical gifts over luxury items. And one of the best things you can do, this is my favorite idea, is to give the gift of time. So if you're pooling maybe with other family members, give the new parent in your family cleaning services for the year, right? Have someone come clean their home for...
Practical.
It's practical. It's also a luxury item all at the same time, but it's something that can't be returned and will very much be appreciated.
You know what I do? I do a precursor to Christmas. Anything you don't like that I give you, you can return. It does not hurt my feelings. Right?
I think that helps too, you know, because people feel bad. You know, it is the thought that counts. But you really want to show your appreciation. But then, of course, the person who gave the gift won't be happy.
Not like you,
I'm special.
You are very special. That's why we love you.
I don't think I can emphasize that enough.
Well, thanks. Merry Christmas.
Thanks so much
being
for your good tips.
Thanks for your tips.
Let's toss over to Lisa Booth for
Talking about
headlines.
special.
You are special, Brian.
Thank you, Lisa.
He is special.
Just moments ago, after taking some heat, Amazon is pulling a controversial Black Lives Matter sweatshirt from its website. The words bulletproof Black Lives Matter splashed across the front. The nation's largest police union, the Fraternal Order of Police, sent Amazon a letter condemning it last week, but the nation's largest online retailer didn't budge until this morning. Now, if you search for the shirt, you'll notice it's no longer available. It's a college in our nation's capital named for the first president, but now George Washington University is no longer requiring history majors to take U.S. history. Not sure how that works, but the school says it's to give students more flexibility. Radio talk show host Larry Elder says it's setting a bad precedent.
Kids are learning that America is nothing more than a series of incidents that oppress people, whether it's Native Americans or women or black or Hispanics or Asian people. That's what they're learning.
The university follows 1/3 of the country's top schools who already changed their requirements. Christmas may be over and the gifts may be unwrapped, but there's still someone who needs a miracle this holiday. Jessica Scott is fighting a grueling uphill battle. Her medical problems started 12 years ago when doctors found a hole in her heart. Right now, she's in a medically induced coma, fighting multiple infections from her second double lung transplant. Can you help Jessica's family with the mounting medical bills by donating to her GoFundMe page? You can find the link on our website at foxandfriends.com. And check this out, dads swapping faces with their babies, and the results are hilarious. It started after a New Zealand dad blogger posted this photo on Christmas Eve, asking people to send in their own funny pictures. Hundreds of pictures poured into the site, How to Dad. So we decided to have our own fun here at Fox and Friends. Here's Abby and I in a hysterical matchup. I think we look awesome. And Ed and Brian swapping faces, a handsome result. And those are your headlines.
And normally they look so creepy. I would say we did a pretty good job here.
I think we did for Brian. Brian,
That is funny.
All right, good job, Lisa. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
So, you know the inauguration's coming up January 20th, and for some reason, I don't really remember this, but evidently celebrities show up and perform, and with Hillary Clinton, all you had to do was watch her campaign. You could see how many celebrities.
Ago,
how many celebrities would show up.
Lady Gaga.
Oh, that's right, because Beyonce, remember the controversy about lip syncing, and she might have been mad?
Yeah.
Well, evidently, it's been a struggle, reportedly, for Donald Trump to get the A-listers booked.
Yeah, those not performing include Elton John, Garth Brooks, Kiss.
Asked and said no.
Right. Andrea Bocelli as well was rumored to be somebody who was going to sing. And then Bocelli went over to Trump Tower to have a meeting, and they came out and said, oh, it looks like he's not going to do it. Why? Well, on social media, there had been this boycott Bocelli movement, and some of these artists have gotten scared that, there will be a whole bunch of people who will boycott their concerts. Some of them probably should just stand up and say, look, if they like Donald Trump, perform for him. Or, you know what, even if you don't like the man, he could be happened to frost K's. And it was so bright that day with the sun and everything, he couldn't read the paper. So he memorized one of his previous poems and just read it out. He just wanted to be there. It's a historic moment.
And this will be
God forbid someone did that.
As historic this time around. So you're right. So not all of them have reportedly said no, but what we know is all the ones we've listed, they are not going to be performing. But you know what, Brian? Karma sometimes can come back and bite you.
You guys got to show some guts. If you support Donald Trump or not, are you a performer or not? Yeah. Jackie Avancho is somebody that wowed our studio audience here when she came on our show as a kid. She's getting a little bit older now, and she's experiencing some big-time success. And since she committed to perform, I think she's going to sing the Star-Spangled Banner. Her album jumped to #1 on the Billboard charts. The University of Tech, and there she is.
Well, I think she was the runner-up, Brian, for America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Runner-up. If you didn't know her, you certainly know her today because, as you said, she's now the top of the charts. Her Christmas album is just blowing up. And she's someone that has agreed to perform at the inauguration for President-elect Donald Trump. So, as I said,
you had all these celebrities who got behind Hillary Clinton, and now they're on the sidelines, they're sulking. And they think, oh, Donald Trump's the worst thing ever. And here's Jackie standing up, and you know what? She's #1 on the charts.
I think it's worse than sulking. I think it's showing a lack of guts and conviction. So they might even support Donald Trump. They might have voted for Donald Trump. They might even know him. But if I go up there, I'm going to get ridiculed by my community. And by the way, this shows you that you're living possibly in a bubble.
Sure.
If you're Jackie Avancho and you become #1 on the Billboard chart, is there a chance that as a performer, you can perform for Donald Trump and doesn't really matter whether you voted for him or not?
Some of these artists are not just snubbing Donald Trump. They're saying they're going to arrive maybe down in Miami. You've seen this. There are liberals putting together a rival event to the inaugural. That other part of it to me is let the man have a day.
They're up in arms.
Like him, let the man have a day. Let him have his inaugural. Then you
know what, though? When I think about the inauguration, I think about one of the days in the year that the country comes together and celebrates this street, and that rock stars, whoever it is, for us all to come together and celebrate and appreciate. And this time around, we are not seeing that happen.
I think Donald Trump's going to end up coming back back and pulling back from all performances. He got elected by the people, not by celebrities, even though he has a lot of friends that are celebrities. Mark Burnett evidently has been called in to help produce some type of pre-show. They have had the booker for Dancing with the Stars help out, according to RedState.com, and so far they have been unable to produce, and reportedly it has Donald Trump a little ticked
But you know,
off.
as Mr. Trump tweeted out a few days ago, he said, you know what, celebrities have been asking to come to this. This is not going to be about celebrities. This inauguration is going to be about the American people.
There's an opportunity
saying, I don't
for
even
him
care.
to flip it around on the celebrities. Absolutely. All right.
Well, if you didn't know her before, you certainly know her now.
Jackie Avancho.
Jackie Avancho, who's going to be performing. All right, so coming up, this is a great story still ahead on the show. All this Navy veteran wanted for Christmas was to smile again. This is the before and after photo. He just got his wish. He's going to show off that new smile when he joins us live. I
Great
love
story.
this.
And Donald Trump gets a standing ovation at church this Christmas. The pastor who prays with the president-elect joins us live next.
All right, quick first, your trivia question of the day sounds like this. Born on this day in 1971, this actor gained fame playing Jordan Catalano on My So-Called Life. Who is he? Be first at friendsoffoxnews.com and get something extremely special, more special than you can imagine.
From Brian Kilmeade.
Yes, thank you.
Good morning again. Some quick entertainment headlines. New overnight, Star Wars actress Carrie Fisher now in stable condition, days after suffering a reported heart attack on a flight from London to L.A. Fisher's mother, Debbie Reynolds, tweeting the news on Christmas. And a huge announcement from America's favorite TV family. The Tanners are back. Fuller House being renewed for a third season on Netflix. Brian is excited. I have no idea who they are, I have to admit. No word on if Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen will be part of it this time around. And country star Casey Musgraves gets an extra special Christmas gift, an engagement ring. Musician Rustin Kelly popping the question in Musgraves' Texas childhood home. The Follow Your Arrow singer said, "Yes, Abby."
And I love her. She is one of the most talented singers today. Thank you, Ed. Well, the future First family got an early gift on Christmas Eve, a standing ovation at midnight mass. Mr. Trump and his wife Melania enjoyed a warm welcome, as you can see there, from churchgoers. But can their faith in the president-elect heal a divided nation? Joining us now to answer that is Trump's longtime spiritual advisor, Paula White, who's also chairwoman of Trump's Evangelical Advisory Board. Good morning to you. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Abby. It's so good to be with you today.
So help people understand that moment we just showed where he went into that church in Florida, something that means a lot to him and his wife Melania. They were married there back in 2005. He's been going to this church for a number of years. How special was that moment of them walking in as being president-elect now?
Absolutely special. What so many people might not recognize is that's very normal for President-elect Trump and for his family, and to attend church every Christmas, and not just Christmas, to so many crusades and so many different churches. And Christianity is such a large part, his faith is such a large part of his life.
People don't know a lot about President-elect Trump's faith. You have known him for, 15 years. Talk to us about how you both met and how that journey has gone from there.
It's been amazing. I received a phone call almost 15 years ago, and he was watching Christian television. And he repeated back to me, literally verbatim, 3 of my sermons on value of vision. And we started talking about God and the things of God and how he was confirmed as a Presbyterian and grew up in Norman Vincent Peale's church. And we just began to converse, and relationship grew over the years. And I've had the wonderful privilege of just not only being a friend, but a spiritual advisor, and praying over him, his family, his staff, and now in this new office, and it's been amazing to watch him just walk out his faith.
Have you talked to him recently? Have you talked to him since he has been elected our next president? How is he feeling about things?
He's feeling great. I did. I talked to him yesterday, wishing him a Merry Christmas and praying over him. And I've had the wonderful privilege of being up at Trump Towers every single week, because in the faith community, President-elect Trump not only embraces his own personal faith, but he's not giving us just a position, but he's integrating us with policy, with positions, with this administration, he's hearing the voice. There's so many prominent pastors in this country that the day after the election, they were calling me saying, hey, President-elect Trump just called me and wanted to say thank you. And we know it was unprecedented. 81% of evangelicals got out and voted, an extra 3 million people. So, I mean, it just speaks volumes to say he's a friend to us and we are a friend to him. And so he's opened up his office and his life and his table. And there are so many people I've watched, just literally hundreds of pastors, pray over him, stand with him, advise him. He's always taking the calls. And so this is a great time. And I believe this next year is going to be unprecedented for what we will experience, being able to see a partnership between government and people of faith.
Well, your optimism is so refreshing. You've seen the polls out, though. Fox News has done a recent one showing that not everyone feels as optimistic, that many Americans are feeling so divided right now. What is your advice to them, as you know President-elect Trump better than most anybody, and you know his spiritual side? How will that help him be able to heal this nation in time of division?
Tremendously. He is a unifier. And so we've watched the businessman Trump already begin to bring together some of the greatest leaders to fix some of the hardest problems in America. So will he do with this faith. He asks all the time for prayer, for God's guidance, for wisdom. He's a very smart man, he is the greatest thing I can say. I've personally experienced and watched over 15 years. He'd bring people that would be on the most opposite sides, maybe polarized, and bring them together for solutions. He does solve things. He's one of the greatest leaders I've ever been able to experience. So I believe we're going to see so much reconciliation in so many areas.
Wow, that's some powerful words.
He'll serve us well.
It was great to have you here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abby. Be blessed.
And a Merry Christmas a day late. All right, coming up next, a Navy corpsman smile destroyed by a sniper fire on the battlefield. This is an incredible story. He suffered for years before surgery saved his jaw. We have his inspiring story. That is next. But first, on this day in history, in 1972, President Harry Truman died. He was 88 years old. And in 2004, Peyton Manning broke the record for single-season touchdown passes. And in 1991, Michael Jackson's Black or White was #1 on the charts. And it's still a hit to this day. And now for the moment you've been waiting for, the answer to the Fox and Friends trivia question. Get a book.
You can steal it from my office, but you can't.
By the way, is it true that you gave your kids the book for present?
That's true. It was a big surprise.
Did you wrap it, though?
Hey, on this note, though, let's keep it in the military theme for a great story. All he wanted for Christmas was to smile again, and after a decade, he finally got his wish.
Navy veteran Dusty Kirby was shot by an Iraqi sniper in 2006. He spent the last decade in chronic pain, his jaw completely obliterated.
This year, after 2 cutting-edge reconstructive surgeries, he's feeling no pain, and he's gritting now from ear to ear, just in time for the holidays.
And joining us right now is the happy hero himself, retired Navy hospital corpsman and second class for the Marines, Dusty Kirby. Dusty, we've watched the great news. We saw the X-rays. Tell us first off, what happened that led to this injury?
Well, I was serving as a Navy corpsman in Iraq with 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines, and they had me standing post, which is like guard duty, and that was on Christmas, so I was up there for a few hours, and then it was time to change and get relieved, and I was shot in the face.
How much pain? When we talked about pain, people don't always understand. What did you go through over the last few years dealing with the aftermath of that?
Well, you know, the chronic pain was really just like it started out as a nuisance, and it grew to, debilitating levels sometimes. It would, it'd lay me down for 2 or 3 days even.
Wow.
You know, talking to you this morning, Kirby, you wouldn't even know. You look great. You sound great. Talk to us about how you're feeling today and what you went through in this past year that has obviously changed your life tremendously.
So earlier this year in April, I received a pretty extensive surgical procedure to my jaw. It put it in better alignment and gave a more stable platform for moving forward with dental implants, which I received later in the year, probably around September. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not hurting, and I can eat, and I can smile, and I can talk, and I can do all kinds of stuff. I feel great.
And how are the costs taken care of? How did the surgery come to pass?
The Marine Corps Law Enforcement Foundation has an associated organization, I guess, called Marine Assist, who covered most of the cost. So, and then Dr. Hirsch and Dr. Breck, they went out of their way to help me. So,
wow.
Do you have a message for them this morning, Dusty?
Oh, I do. I would like to reach out and thank Dr. Hirsch and Dr. Brecht and Northwell Health for changing my life for the better. Because I couldn't imagine, where I'd be without them right now.
Well, Dusty, you have to realize what an inspiration you are to all of us and to our viewers. We take for granted everything we have, and you've just, in that interview, showing off the new jaw, the new mouth, the teeth, talking, now you're eating, all of that. It's wonderful. And Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Well, Merry Christmas to you guys, too.
You're looking
Thank you.
great, Dusty. Thanks for being
Appreciate
here.
it.
All right, thanks again for your service. Meanwhile, straight ahead as we move ahead in the final hour. Tensions mounting between the White House and Israel this morning. Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister, has pushed the shocking fallout straight ahead between the two allies.
Plus this morning, tributes continue to pour in for pop star George Michael after his shocking death. We are live outside of his home in London with those latest details. Good morning. Happy Monday. It is December 26th. I'm Abby Huntsman in for Ainsley Earhart, and the shocking death of a pop singer George Michael was found dead at the age of 53. We are live in London this morning where the tributes are now pouring in.
And fighting words for President Obama after the UN vote on Israel.
He called me into the Oval Office before the election, and he said to me, Alan, I want your support, and I have to tell you, I will always have Israel's back. I didn't realize what he meant is that he would have his back. Just stabbed him in the back.
Stabbed in the back. Was the president just trying to get even with Israel's prime minister? An update on the escalating tension, the shocking fallout, and how President-elect Donald Trump tries to pick up pieces.
And that was last hour. Meanwhile, the Christmas comes early here for a deputy in need when a fellow officer saving them hour about the higher power that may have intervened. And let me just remind you, it is Monday. You might be totally naked right now. We need you to get dressed and watch the show because your mornings are better with friends.
Been listening to George Michael all morning long, reminding ourselves of how many incredible classics he has had over the years.
You think about the recording artists that we've lost in the last few months, from Prince to David Bowie, now George Michael, and that's why a lot of people are really reflecting today.
It's been a long year.
Yep, that shocking death at 53. A lot of questions had to be answered, and we'll find out what's going on there. We also have to talk about the fallout between two close allies on the international front, as clearly President Obama wants his last 30 days to be impactful days.
This
I'm
transition.
wondering how long the Trump camp and the Obama camp are going to pretend to get along.
The transition sounded to have sweetness and light. We're getting along, and now, as Alan Dershowitz told us last hour, backstabbing.
The claws are coming out.
And Abby, as you know, that Ed and I have put together, put aside our rivalry for the good of the show.
You guys are so thoughtful.
We need to do that.
Only for the show.
You should see what the commercial break is like with these two.
It's very ugly.
Crazy. But you know what? The news this morning everyone's talking about is George Michael and just his loss yesterday. And for that, we have Lisa Booth this morning in with the headlines looking Christmassy as ever. Good morning, Lisa.
I can't let it go. I just want Christmas to continue here.
Love it.
All right, tributes are pouring in as the world mourns the shocking death of 80s and 90s pop icon George Michael.
Wake me up before you go, don't leave me hanging on. Like a yo-yo. Wake me up.
The former Wham frontman's manager announcing overnight that he passed away peacefully on Christmas Day due to heart failure.
Yes, I gotta have faith.
Celebrities are honoring the music legend overnight. Elton John writing, "I am in deep shock. I have lost a beloved friend, the kindest, most generous soul, and a brilliant artist. My heart goes out to his family, friends, and all of his loved words. Devastating. What a beautiful voice he had, and his music will live on as a testament to his talent. I can't believe he is gone." Michael is 53 years old, and don't miss a live report from outside of his home in London that's coming up at 8:20. Now to Fox News alert in the crash of a Russian military plane. Officials now saying they have found wreckage in the Black Sea near the coast of Sochi. The fuselage not found. Pilot error or technical issues now being eyed as a possible cause. Memorials like this one are springing up across Russia on this National Day of Mourning. All 92 people on board are feared to be dead. Wicked winter weather making a mess for holiday travelers. A blast of snow shut ditches of highways in the west and upper Midwest because they're just too slippery. The storm system causing 100 flight delays at this hour. A headache for travelers heading home after the holiday. Please be safe out there. Blizzard warnings covering much of the northern plains this morning, with North and South Dakota expecting up to 15 inches of snow. Sunday, little prince and princess have attended Christmas Mass. They are so cute. I know, and those are your headlines.
Thank you, Lisa.
Little candy cane
They're the
there.
cutest kids.
So cute.
Boy, you would talk about happiness around Christmas. What a contrast to how Christmas was set up on Friday at the UN. The Obama administration going out the door with a bang and with backstabbing, in the words of Alan Dershowitz. We'll get to that in a moment. And what he's talking about is this UN resolution that the Obama administration could have stopped.
Right.
Instead, they let it go forward by abstaining, which was a pretty cowardly way to handle it. Not to support or oppose, but to say we're going to abstain. It goes forward. And this was not just about Israel. Netanyahu.
You know who is also not taking it lightly are even some Democrats, Brian. People that have been outspoken that weren't outspoken really over the past 8 years. One of them, Senator Chuck Schumer, Senator Ron Wyden, Joe Manchin, Richard Blumenthal, Chris Coons, even Debbie Wasserman Schultz has been speaking out about this, saying that they're up in arms. This is not a good step forward for our relation with Israel.
You know, when Barack Obama broke on the scene at 48 years old, I didn't think he had a lot of international rivalries, but almost from day one, he had a problem with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Remember, he had to leave out the back door when they first met, and it was hard getting, he didn't have dinner, didn't invite him for dinner, he stayed downstairs. They met afterwards, and you thought they were going to patch it up eventually.
The White House always said, no, everyone's making this out to be too much.
And they would point out that, well, we put Iron Dome together and we signed a 10-year deal promising them forward. From the information that we have no doubt that the Obama administration initiated it, stood behind it, coordinated on the wording, and demanded that it be passed.
Yeah.
Remember the Secretary of State, John Kerry, would just go in there and just keep meeting, and they said, will John Kerry just leave us, he goes, will he just stop his peace initiative? and leave us in peace?
Well, the White House is insisting this is not true. Eric Schultz, a spokesman there, says President Obama has done more for Israel and its security than any previous U.S. president. President Obama has always made Israel and its security sacrosanct. In his approach to these issues, the U.S. did not draft this resolution, nor did the U.S. introduce this resolution. But you know what, Abby?
Yeah.
Some of the president's own allies are not buying it. Brian mentioned Chuck Schumer and others, but also we were working together over the weekend. The Daily News, New York Daily News here, front page, they supported Hillary Clinton. They supported Barack Obama. They've gone after Donald Trump at every turn. And they said that this was a total slam, front page, slam from Barack Obama to Israel. New York Daily News not buying it. So some of his own friends are saying no.
But Benjamin Netanyahu, he's also worried about the next few weeks. He's saying it could actually only get worse from here. Someone that knows a thing or two about our relationship with Israel, Alan Dersh, you spoke to him Ed, earlier on the show, and he had some really interesting things to say. Someone who actually spoke to President Obama early on in his presidency to get some advice, and here's how that went. Here's what he said.
He called me into the Oval Office before the election, and he said to me, Alan, I want your support, and I have to tell you, I will always have Israel's back. I didn't realize what he meant is that he would have his back to stab them in the back. What he did was so nasty, he pulled a bait and switch. He said to the American public, oh, this is all about the settlements deep in the West Bank. And yet he allowed his representative to the UN to abstain, which is really for, a resolution that says the Jews can't pray at the Western Wall. Jews can't live in the Jewish quarter where they've lived for thousands of years. And he's going to say, whoops, I didn't mean that. Well, read the resolution. You're a lawyer. You went to Harvard Law School. He will go down in history, President Obama, as one of the worst foreign policy presidents ever.
That part there, worst foreign policy presidents ever. But by the way, that shot about Harvard Law School, Alan Dershowitz, not just a professor emeritus. He was the dean of the Harvard Law School for decades, literally decades.
Yeah, he's a liberal.
And let's remember, he's a liberal. And let's remember Barack Obama was there at Harvard Law School, and he said, "Read the resolution." I mean, those are strong words, just going right after the president.
And by the way, this is if you want long-term peace in the area, they say that most countries, including ours and Benjamin Netanyahu, want a two-state solution, and to do that, portions of the West Bank and, of course, Gaza will be the Palestinian country. But they're saying if you build settlements in these areas, it'll prevent it from happening. And Israel says, no, we had these areas, especially if the 6th which so they put
out against it.
Yeah, he spoke out against it. He says you're building condos for the Palestinians. But he didn't go out and in front, that was a family discussion among two allies. He didn't go out to the world community and leave you out to dry. That's what the president did. But there is fear inside Israel that President Obama's got another shoe to drop because they said easy on the criticism. He's got 30 days. He could make things worse. And our Secretary of State is going to be speaking shortly, John Kerry, who's going to outline what he did, what he wants to do, and why they did this.
Well, because this came to a surprise for a lot of folks in Israel, including President Netanyahu, because it was up to President Obama to either veto this resolution or not. Obviously, he chose to do what he
Abstain,
did. And the next question,
on the sidelines.
And the next question is, where does this go from here? We take the up to Nikki Haley, people that he puts in these leadership roles to help rebuild this relationship with Israel, to reinsure this trust, because there's a lot of work to do. We had Charles Krauthammer on. He spoke on Friday night about this when this was breaking, and he said the president has left a lot of landmines for people to have to rebuild when they get in there, to deal with. And that's well said.
Steps to fight terror.
The Trump team reportedly wants names of officials working to defeat violent extremism. So what does this mean for President Obama's war on terror? Does he have one? A former FBI agent shares his insight. He did this for a living.
Plus, talk about a fight over
President-elect Donald Trump reacting to last week's terror attack in Berlin, tweeting this. The terrorists who killed so many people in Germany said just before the crime, by God's will we slaughter you pigs. I swear we will slaughter you. This is a purely religious threat which turned into reality. Such hatred, exclamation point. When will the U.S. and all the countries fight back? And now it looks like the Trump transition team is starting to do just that, asking for the names of officials working to defeat violent extremists. Joining us right now to weigh in is former FBI agent and author of this book, Hunting Terrorists, Joe Navarro. Joe, do you sense that this administration's got a plan going forward to take on the Islamic extremist threat?
Well, I think they're coming on strong. They're really rattling the cage. From my friends in the intelligence community, they're telling me that anytime the president-elect starts asking for names, it's shaking things up. And I've got to tell you, I think it's something that needs to be done, because we need to look at what works, what doesn't work, and dump what doesn't work, and start initiating things that are actually effective.
Absolutely. For example, some would say, don't bring up religious, because you don't want a religious war, Christians and Jews against Muslims. But so far, Donald Trump's saying, the heck with that. We got to admit right off what's happening here.
Well, I think that there's always clarity in saying exactly what it is that we're facing. Terrorism is extremely complex, and whether you're looking at lone wolf terrorists or you're looking at ISIL or ISIS or any other group, you need to call it what it is and not play around.
So here is President Obama on the progress he says his administration's making against al-Qaeda and ISIS.
We should take great pride in the progress that we've made over the last 8 years. That's the bottom line. No foreign terrorist organization has successfully planned and executed an attack on our homeland. And it's not because they didn't try.
Well, is he right? Does he have a point?
Well, I think to a point he is right. The question is, were we lucky or could we do things better? We need to stay ahead of terrorists. We cannot rest on any amount of success that we've had. Terrorists are constantly trying to outthink us, and so we need to stay ahead of that game.
Joe, if you think about it, San Bernardino, you think about Fort Hood, you think about Orlando, these are successful attacks just off the top of my head. Number two, we don't question anyone. We don't interrogate anyone, let alone the tactics on where we would do it and how we would do it. We don't capture anybody anymore.
Yeah, we got into that habit of just shooting them from the air. And, I came from a bureau where we made it an art and a science of interrogating people, collecting intelligence, building huge human intelligence databases. And we need to go back to that. We need to work the neighborhoods. And that is really the only way to prevent both the large actors and the lone terrorists.
Thanks so much, Joe Navarro. Congratulations on the book. Thanks so much for joining us. Can't wait to get your analysis along the way. Appreciate it. Meanwhile, let's change gears a little bit and go to Abby and Ed. Tell us what's coming up, guys.
Thank you, Brian. All right, so the presents are unwrapped and the rush to return kicks off today. Americans are expected to return $60 billion worth of unwanted Christmas presents this year alone.
Steve Keeley from our affiliate WTXF live in New Jersey, where shoppers are lined up early this morning. Good to see you, Steve.
Good morning.
Yeah, we are at the formerly biggest mall in the country, just a 90-minute drive south of you guys if you want to shop when you're done. The Cherry Hill Mall in New Jersey, no longer the Mall of America, but still busy. And you don't see any people outside because they're all inside now. Not only is it a big return day, but it's a huge shopping day. The sales up to 80% off in this store. And JCPenney opened at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. And in addition to all the huge numbers you're getting off, they were handing out coupons for the first few hundred people here that were at least $10, $20, or $100 good as cash. So people are actually not spending any money and coming out with bags because they're getting such good deals, and this coupon as good as cash is meaning they don't have to spend any money at all. So how about that? Now, Brian, Abby, I looked at Ed Henry's Christmas list, and I noticed he didn't get the oven or dishwasher that he wanted. And Ed, look, JCPenney, if you didn't know it, now selling appliances. So get here when the show's over and outfit that kitchen the way you want it before Christmas.
I can't wait. That's awesome, Steve. And you know what? I have this pocket square that I got that got Abby's face on it. I was debating returning it. I'm going to keep it, Abby.
I don't
want to insult. No.
Who would take it if you returned
somebody
it?
would take it. I don't want to return it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to put it in my pocket.
Steve, thank you so much
Thanks,
for
Steve.
that. All right, still to come, a global superstar gone too soon. Over the
death. We're outside his London home next.
And Christmas comes early for one deputy in need when his fellow officer steps in with a life-saving gift, and they say a higher power intervened.
Both are going to join us live just ahead. Check them out.
There they are.
Thank you for being a friend.